This is the U Model instructional activity for lesson 3.2, write titles of works. The standard is 5.L.2.d. Use underlining quotation marks or italics to indicate the titles of works. And it's really not that hard. They're just a few simple rules you have to remember, such as your parts of speech and your capitalization rules. The lesson objective is that after this lesson, you will be able to demonstrate and identify the correct use of formatting in titles of works. Now, there are three different rules that I want to reiterate. The first is the fact that you must capitalize the first word, the last word, and each important word in the middle when writing titles. The second rule is to use italics or underlining for longer works. Now, with that particular one, if you're handwriting something, that is when you will underline it, but if you're typing it, you would use the italics formatting tool. Rule number three is to use quotation marks for shorter works. Now let's take a look at what the difference is between major works and shorter works. The titles of major works are set apart from regular text. Major works are things such as books, long poems, magazines, newspapers, journals, movies, plays, television shows, ballets, operas, paintings, albums, and names of ships are even considered to be major works. Now, how you write them is if you're handwriting, again, you underline the title of the major work because depending on your penmanship, we may not be able to really clearly understand or differentiate what is italics and what's not. So again, you will underline it. However, if you're typing, you would again use the italics formatting feature in order to designate that major work. Now, here's an example. If he checked out a book called The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. Notice here, The Three Musketeers is italicized. And if I were handwriting it, it would look like that last example where it would be underlined. Smaller works. Titles of smaller works are put in quotation marks. How examples of smaller works include magazine articles, songs, essays, short stories, book chapter names, short poems, and television episodes. An example of this, I read an article in the Chicago Tribune titled The Best Places for Pizza. Now, notice in the example, Chicago Tribune is italicized because it is the name of a major work. On the other hand, the article, which is a smaller work within the major work, was put in quotation marks. We're going to take a look at some examples of major works. And what I want you to do is to grab a paper and pencil or the handout that is available, and I want you to look at the sentence, decipher which part of the sentence is the title of the major work, and I want you to either use italics or underlining to designate that major work. Take a few moments to do your work, pause the video, and once you're done, come back and compare your answer to this solution. You should have The Lion King was a movie and also a play on Broadway. The Lion King should be either underlined or italicized. The next one, example, the family watched The Wizard of Oz on television. Which part of the sentence should you italicize or either underline to notate the major work? Do your work while you're paused, and once you're done, come back. Your solution should look something like this. The Wizard of Oz should either be underlined or italicized. Next, we have the Mona Lisa hangs in Paris, France at the Louvre Museum. Take a few moments, do your work, pause the video, and then come back and compare your answer to this solution. The Mona Lisa, which is the name of a major piece of artwork actually, should be either underlined or italicized. Now we're going to take a look and practice correctly writing both major and smaller titles of works, including capitalization. I told you to remember that. So now let's look at this first one. The Made in America episode of The Sopranos on HBO was the best one so far. This one includes a major work and a smaller work. Based on the sentence, compare what you need to do. Make sure you make all capitalization corrections that need to be made, and identify the major work by italicizing or underlining it, and designate the shorter work by putting it in quotation marks. Your answer should look something like this. The Made in America, which is an episode on The Sopranos, which is the major work on HBO. So Made in America should be in quotation marks because, again, it's an episode, it's a shorter work. However, The Sopranos should either be italicized or underlined because it is a major work. It is the name of that entire series. All right. The next example is All You Need Is Love from the Beatles. Album Yellow Submarine was a hit. Again, there is a major piece of work in here and there is a smaller work. Italicize or underline the major and put the shorter work within quotation marks and make all capitalization corrections. Your solution should look something like this. All You Need Is Love should be in quotation marks because it is the name of a song within the album, which is the major work, Yellow Submarine. So Yellow Submarine should either be italicized or it should be underlined. The next question should look something like this. Handel's Messiah was composed in 1771. Notice Messiah, which is the name of the song, the major work, that is italicized in this particular one. The next example is Carolyn Forshay's powerful poem, The Colonel, appeared in her 1981 book, The Country Between Us. Take a few moments again and look at this one. Make whatever corrections you need in terms of capitalization, and also put the major work within italics or underline, and put the shorter work in quotation marks. And your answer should look like this. The Colonel should be in quotation marks because it is a poem, and poems are shorter works, remember. And The Country Between Us is the book, which is a major work. So it should be either italicized or underlined. Our last example, the Miles Davis composition, All Blues, is included on the album Kind of Blue, which released in 1959. Again, take a few moments, make capitalization, changes, major works, shorter works. And your answer should look like this. The Miles Davis composition, All Blues, should be in quotations as the shorter work. Kind of Blue, which is the album, should be italicized or underlined. All right. Now, based on the type of work, correctly rewrite the following examples. And remember that major works is what? Italicized or underlined, and smaller works are in quotation marks. I'm going to go ahead and put all of these up here on the screen so you can see them, and take a few moments to look at these. The first one is How to Train Your Dragon. Well, actually, the first is The Journey to the Great Oz, which is the book chapter title. Based on what that is, determine whether it's major or a smaller work and format it accordingly. The USS Arizona, which is a ship, is it major or is it smaller? Format it accordingly. Casey at the Bat, which is a short poem, is that a short work or a major work? Format it accordingly. And again, How to Train Your Dragon is a movie. Is that a major work or a shorter work? Take some time, figure that out, make the formatting issues, and then I want you to come back and compare your answers to these solutions. They should look something like this. The Journey to the Great Oz, which again is a short work, it should be in quotation marks. The USS Arizona is a ship, which is a major work, so you should have either italicized or underlined that. How to Train Your Dragon is a movie, which is a major work, so it should be again italicized or underlined. Casey at the Back is a short poem, which is a short work, and in this case, you would use quotation marks. Again, I really hope you've learned something here. Just to remember to capitalize the first word, last word, and each important word in the middle when you're writing your titles. And the next thing you need to do is to use italics or underlining for longer works, and to use quotation marks for shorter works. That is it. Simple, easy, done. Hope you learned something. Thank you.